Welcome to BitBoy Crypto. The best way is if you became a millionaire, would you keep working? You know? I want to tell you guys something. What's going on right now is California's trying to figure out about crypto. My name is Ben. We're tons of balls.
Welcome to BitBoy Crypto, the people's channel, home of the BitSquad, the largest and greatest crypto community in all of the interwebs. My name is Frankie Candles, and I'm going to be your fill-in host for, I think, like 5 minutes. Ben is recording a video, so he will be here in just a second. But I'm going to kick off the stream. I hope you guys are having an awesome day. We got the volatility we were looking for yesterday. Things absolutely went nuts. Big rip to the upside before a big dump to the downside. Breaking news, my ETH short is not break even anymore. It is in profit.
Hey.
And speaking of my ETH short, guys, we are doing a Femex trading competition on my channel, Frankie Candles, and we're crushing it. We're in the top 5, I believe. We were in second place at some point, so we're floating around those top ranks. So shout out to the Candle Mafia. If you guys want to learn more about technical analysis and how to trade and make money trading crypto, whether the price is going up or down, make sure you follow my YouTube channel at Frankie Candles. And yeah, guys, we have an awesome show. I am actually not going to be doing the charts because we have Gareth Soloway on. Absolutely love hearing Gareth's take on the markets, and perfect day to have him on, kind of see if we can get a little aftermath analysis from that Fed meeting yesterday. So there he is, Gareth Soloway. What is going on, Gareth? How you doing, man?
I'm doing super, super well, buddy. How you doing? Good to see you.
Good to see you too. Long time no see.
Yeah.
So
Good, man. I need my weekly dose.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. So obviously yesterday we did see some crazy volatility. Typically, I know a lot of people know I talk about this all the time. I typically don't trade when we have Fed meetings like this because of the crazy unpredictable volatility. But yesterday I was in a trade, so I just had my stop losses set and I sat in it. But kind of, can you talk about how you handle when these meetings happen? Do you trade? And then maybe if you could just kind of break down what you're seeing on the charts, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, so I'm with you in this respect, and what investors and traders need to understand is that the only time we should ever be trading is when we have an advantage, right? So when we have some sort of advantage, whether it's a chart setup or it's a high probability situation, when you have Jerome Powell coming out and you don't know what his statement is going to say, and you can't read it as fast as these algorithms that read it in a millisecond do, I just sit on the sidelines initially. Now, it doesn't mean that like later in the day there might not be a level that I could trade, but the initial to try to compete with these algos, and what I mean by this, guys, is like they literally have algos that will scan his statement for keywords, and then they will either buy and sell on it. So it is literally milliseconds, way faster than I can even move my mouse to click the mouse button, my finger to click the mouse button. So I'm with you. I stay on the sidelines. I wait for kind of the full effect. And what we saw yesterday is a great example, right? The S&P initially ripped higher. I mean, it was looked a full-fledged rally, and then it reversed, and we had a monster down day in the equity markets. Now, crypto actually held up really, really well. Again, today, it's holding up really, really well. So that's a whole nother thing where maybe we're seeing a little bit more of that trust in crypto as a kind of avoidance of dealing with the Fed and what they're doing, which is a kind of a cool concept.
Yeah, absolutely. And like you said, crypto holding up super well. We've kind of been talking about that a lot on our channels where, even if we see the traditional markets rip, or maybe sometimes even the DXY making some big moves, Bitcoin just kind of holding strong. What's your kind of take on, seeing Bitcoin and the rest of crypto kind of holding up pretty good in situations like this? Does this, change your thoughts on if the bottom is in, or are you kind of firm on that? Because I know when I had you on my show, we were kind of both talking about some potential lower targets. Does this kind of change your outlook at all?
It as of now, it hasn't because the chart hasn't changed, and I think that's important to recognize is that little things will pop up, and I'm a deep down bull long term. I know you are too in the crypto space, so we inherently want to be like, oh look, it's changing, it's going to be here's the new bull run. But the answer is you really want to go to the charts, right? And having said that, let me see if I can throw up. Can I share my chart here? I'm not sure how to share it actually, but anyways.
You
I'm looking
can.
for that same sort of thing, and I'm not seeing it to share. But the bottom line is, when it comes to crypto, you're still seeing a bullish sideways channel, right? So we're still seeing a bullish sideways channel, and that tells me near term, I'm still favoring upside, maybe to 22.5, maybe to 25,000. But if you look and you zoom out over the last 3 months, what have we done? we've gone sideways consolidation after the big drop, and that's a macro bear flag. So
Hmm.
the bear flag, the macro, the midterm essentially is still pointing to the downside. The near term is still favoring a little bit of upside. But remember, near term means you're in and you're out. You're not waiting around for grandma to give you presents at Christmas. You're in, you get to 22.5 or 25,000, you take profits, and then you have to start expecting that down move.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is kind of, like I said, when I had you on my show, we were kind of talking about the same thing. Looking at those shorter term higher targets between about 22 and 25K. But I think you brought up something really, really good there. Just kind of talking about, through this entire bear market, we've had these big capitulations down with the sideways consolidation, creating those bear flags. And those were money all day on my channel. We were loving those bear flags. It's like we get a big move down, we'd start consolidating and be like, hey, it looks like another bear flag. And people are just like, what's
Yo.
with this guy? This guy, everything's a bear flag to this guy, but they played out.
They'll start, and it's so funny. People start pigeonholing you, like, oh, because he's talking always bearish, he must be a
Right.
perma bear or a
Yeah.
perma bull, right? And the answer is like a good trader just lets the charts tell us, right? So if it's
Yeah.
bearish, we have to call it what it is, right? We're not going to BS it and tell you what it isn't. It is what it is, and when it turns bullish, then we're going to turn to the bullish side as well.
Yeah, absolutely. That's something I, have to try to, it's a kind of a funny dance I have to do on my channel. Cause sometimes I get new people in there and they're like, what the heck? He was just saying he was bullish and we could go to 22K 5 minutes ago, but now he's looking at the 15-minute chart saying we could go down. And I'm like, well, you got to understand the context of different time frames.
Yeah.
And, and like I always say, we're traders, right? So I could be, bullish one day. You could wake up the next day and get new information on the charts that can completely invalidate your bullish sentiment. And I think a lot of people who are new, just kind of, new to trading, kind of have to get used to being able to flip back and forth. So with that
Yeah.
being
Super true.
yeah, with that being said, what are kind of your thoughts more in the shorter term? I know you were having. I actually think I don't know the exact problem, but to be able to share your chart, there should be something on the bottom of your screen that pops up. But there might be a problem. But if you can't share your chart, maybe you could share some just thoughts on your more near term kind of thoughts on where the price action is going to go, maybe over the next
Yeah.
week, or that would be
Yeah,
awesome.
so yeah, and for some reason, like usually I have no problem sharing the screen, but it's only giving me to turn off my camera or not, but weird. But
Yeah.
anyways, the beautiful thing about it is I can draw it for you guys like this, and you guys will totally get what I'm saying now. But basically, first of all, I think we got to discuss the Fed yesterday just briefly
Hmm.
because it was absolutely remarkable how Jerome Powell, the statement basically was slightly more dovish, and that's why the markets rallied. And then you could almost see it on stage. I think even a reporter was like, the markets are rallying, right? And he's like, well, we're going to still continue to raise and we can't. And it was amazing because as soon as because basically the bottom line is the Fed doesn't want asset prices to go up because it makes fighting inflation harder, right? When someone doubles their money or triples their money, they're like, oh, let me go buy a new car, do whatever. It's inflationary. So the Fed is doing this weird dance, and it was kind of really apparent yesterday how they were totally like telling us that yes, we're going to be more careful going forward. But then as soon as the markets rallied, it was like, okay, well, we got to be hard on the markets to push them down again. So I thought that was really interesting. Now, near term, I still think the market smart money is going to see through this, and I
Hmm.
still think you get a little bit of a rally in the markets in the near term. So I think again, smart money's always reading through the lines. I think they understand that the Fed statement is something that's more powerful than answering some questions to reporters. And
Hmm.
so I think that's what you have to go with. So to me, that means dollar lower, gold likely starts to catch a bid, Bitcoin, which has a bullish chart, which dictates we should see some sort of move up. That would be the favoring I have right now, at least for the next few weeks. My one kicker is, and I don't know if the rally will last to year end or whatnot, but I do think we start seeing economic data that gets very poor very quickly. And this could be
Hmm.
early 2023. And then once that happens, the markets are going to turn to the Fed and say, okay, well, now we're entering a recession. Can you guys lower rates or print money? And the Fed's going to be like, man, inflation's still 4%, let's say. And then the markets are going to be like, crap, we don't have the Fed printing for us or willing to save us this time. And that's where you see that next big leg down. And I actually think that's kind of where crypto will initially flush. But then
Hmm.
I actually think it pivots near the lows, wherever that may be, and starts to become a safe haven.
Awesome. I love it. And yeah, it's super interesting. It's like, hey, the markets are rallying. It's like, oh, wait, hang on. It's not, guys, not all good.
Wait, can't,
I
can't have that. No, no.
I had a quick question for you, Gareth. Do you trade alts at all, or are you pretty much strictly like Bitcoin, Ethereum pair? I mean, we had a question. They were talking about it in the office here today. We've got about 6 or so different altcoins with 20% gains over the last 7 days. So moving, obviously, when Bitcoin moves, they move a little bit further. Any alt trades you're looking at, or pairs, or anything like that?
Yeah, absolutely. So I definitely trade some Solana. Solana moves really, really well.
Mm.
Avalanche. There's some great alts out there, but I will say this is that yeah. So I mean, number one, I actually think Solana is probably a decent buy. It just retraced from 34 back to $30, and I think probably you're going to get a move back to 34, maybe even 37 to 38 in the near term here. So I think those are opportunities, and that's obviously contingent on Bitcoin rallying. Like if Bitcoin starts to
Sure.
break lower, then all of this is off the table, right? We know that Bitcoin kind of has to be the driver behind moves in other cryptocurrencies. But I like that. I like Avalanche. I think Avalanche had a really good run and is just retracing right now. So there are some opportunities out there. You just got to be nimble and really always keep that eye on Bitcoin as a whole.
Yep.
Absolutely. And it's funny too. I called a Solana short a few days ago. That played out, and now it looks like
Yeah,
Garrett's saying we could get a bounce from this level. So you short it down from us. Garrett lets you know what's going up. That's amazing. Catch it on the way
hopefully.
down and the way up. But yeah, on top of that, I actually have kind of a similar question. So you do trade alts sometimes, and we might have talked about this on my show, but for the BitSquad. Are you just stocks and crypto, or do you have any other kinds of investments to hedge yourself, such as maybe precious metals or something like that?
Yeah, so huge. I'm huge into gold.
Mhm.
This morning I was buying gold when it was getting smoked early. It's actually come back nicely off of the lows, still down. But I really do believe in the idea that number one, diversification is really important, right?
Mhm.
And number two is gold has its place in an inflationary environment. If you look at the 1970s to 80s, which is the last time we had inflation like this in the U.S., gold is playing out like you can almost match the chart up to what gold did in from like 73 to 75, 75 to 77. It consolidated. And then in like 78, it started this meteoric run to the upside. So I'm kind of going along the lines of that, looking at history when inflation was at the same levels it is now. Obviously, back then it was even higher than this. But those are great opportunities. And really,
Do
commodities
you
like oil, I'll trade on occasion when there's opportunity. Natural gas. I mean, so the beautiful thing, and you know this, right? You're a chart guy. Once you learn the charts, you can really trade anything as long as it has liquidity, right?
It's the
Liquidity is
amazing
the
thing
one
about it.
kicker that every chart person needs because if there's no liquidity, you can't trust the chart as much. But
Yep.
liquidity,
Right.
trade anything. Like if there was a bunch of rocks on the street and somehow it formed a pattern, I could probably figure out which way it's going to go, right?
Absolutely. One thing I love about TA. But I think
Yeah.
TJ,
Well,
you had a question?
yeah, I was just gonna ask, where do you buy your gold? You kind of answered it. I was gonna ask if you long hold, invest in it, or if you just trade it. Sounds like you mostly just trade in and out.
Yeah, so I do hold gold as a physical investment, but it's much smaller amounts than what I buy as a swing trade.
Mhm.
When I hold physical gold, it's more so like I look at it as an insurance policy. So like let's say tomorrow we wake up, the grid is down, it's World War III. I mean, then all of a sudden I can't get money out of the bank. Money
Right.
might be worthless at that point, but you know what? Thousands and thousands of years of physical gold has held value. So I can probably go buy, I'll chisel off a fleck of it and I'll buy some bread for my family, something like that. So I look at it like a smart decision for a family guy who's got to kind of protect his family in case Armageddon kind of hits. But aside from that, having that, it's all through like GLD. I know there's a
Mhm.
crypto that you can kind of trade gold as well through.
There you go.
Yeah, I think it's actually I think you can trade gold on Femex actually. Um, Shout
Wow.
out to Femex. But yeah, TJ, do you have any other questions?
No, that's all I have. Thanks for joining us,
All
Gareth.
right.
I
Yeah, Garrett,
did
thank
for
you.
everybody in the chat. I did pin his channel in the chat. Be sure to go check out Gareth's channel. He gives all kinds of great analysis and insights into
Oh,
the market.
thank you guys.
Yeah, love having
Cool
you on,
guys.
Gareth. Love hearing your takes on the market. Guys, make sure to go follow Gareth. I believe the links are in the chat and in the description down below. Obviously, been doing this forever. Super good trader, awesome technical analyst. So definitely go check out all his stuff. And thank you so much for joining us, Gareth. Joining
Thank you
us,
so much for
Gareth.
having me. I'll talk to you guys soon.
Later,
Take it
dude.
easy, man.
All right, good guy.
I love Gareth.
Yeah.
He is the man. And I will say, I always every single time I talk to Gareth, I always tell him, hey. I know he was one of the first people, or he was the first person I saw looking at, you know, the targets for Bitcoin lower than 20K. And I remember when he brought those up, people are like, "What the heck is this guy talking about?" And now look at that, we get we get down here, and now everybody's looking at those lower targets. So shout out to Gareth.
I like him because like he's a pro. Like he's been doing this a long time. He knows the stuff. He's really on it. But he's chill and relaxed too. He doesn't feel as like stuffy as a lot of the pro, you know, crypto, you know, equities, commodities traders or whatever. So
especially coming from the stock world too. Like, he like fits right into crypto. He spent so much time in stocks, and then he comes over to crypto and he fit right in.
Yeah, this is where he belongs. I think he knows that.
Yeah, 100%. He's super down. That's one thing I love. Like anytime I have him on my channel, we kind of talk before we go live. He's like one of the most down to earth people I've ever met. But yeah, love having him on. And yeah, guys, shall we
hop into some stories? We didn't even check CoinMarketCap, and I guess since his charts didn't work, we should at least spin down CoinMarketCap. You know, obviously the big story of the day, AR we've pumped. So yeah, we'll get into that. But yeah, let's see what you got.
For sure. Yeah. So don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel. What are we at? 1.43. Don't forget to follow Ben on Twitter at BitBoy_crypto. Catching up to crypto, if you guys want to order the book here. I think you guys, Ben was saying yesterday, it's doing really, really well.
Pre-order, and the more pre-orders we get, the more likely we are to be able to do an audiobook. So if you can pre-order now, that really helps.
Ooh, hey. Awesome. And then you said also like a meetup. You have to have the book to get into the meetup, right?
Yes, we're going to be doing that book tour. Really, it's going to be most of, you know, the meetups we do in 2023 are going to be around the book, and you do need a copy of the book to get into the meetup.
Awesome. I love it. And then don't forget to check out Hit Merch. We got some really good stuff on here. I think I heard chatters yesterday about some new stuff coming on here. But yeah, let's check CoinMarketCap. We've got 21,618 cryptos, which continues to blow my mind. Market cap coming in at $991.6 billion. Let's see, volume at 98.1 billion. Dominance at 39.1%.
No, those are old numbers. You got to refresh that.
I was gonna say
the volume's higher than that. I knew that.
There we go. Okay. 108 for the volume, 108.5. Bitcoin dominance at 38.6, a little lower. ETH at 18.8, and 27 Gwei for your ETH gas there. Now coming down to the prices. Obviously, things went nuts yesterday. Bitcoin coming in at $20,250, down almost 1% on the day. Ethereum coming in at $15.42, down about 1% on the day. Do you want me to jump into charts, TJ, real quick? Or
yeah, sure, go ahead.
Okay, yeah, just because Gareth couldn't share his visual charts here. But yeah, guys, obviously, this crazy candle with these giant wicks on both sides. Fireworks yesterday, as we expected. Now, we are still sitting at some pretty interesting levels of support, still holding above 20K, which is kind of that first level that I am watching super, super closely. If we lose 20K, now we have this is a key level for many reasons. It's a local golden pocket. Not only that, we do have this green spider line coming in, which does obviously trend up over time. It's also a local value area high. It's also just a psychological level of about 20K even, right? So very important level to hold. If we break this, if I could turn on, let's see, turn on that VPVR real quick. Because if we lose this level and we look at where the volume's at, basically, if we lose this spider line, we could get a quick move. And take note of that volume gap right here. Really nothing but air underneath us. If we break this, could be a quick move down to about 19.8, which is my second level. This white box between 19.8 and 19.6 is where, if broken, I flip bearish. Now, until we break that level, I am very similar to what Gareth was talking about. I've been talking about this on my stream for a few days now. If we do wind up coming down here and hitting this box between 19.8 and 19.6, I do think we could continue to make a higher low on the.
No, we had Gareth on for a little while.
I missed Gareth.
You missed Gareth, yeah, and he, for whatever reason, he couldn't show his chart, so we're getting into a little bit right now.
But yeah, pretty simple stuff here. If we come down to this white box between 19.8 and 19.6, and we don't, and we don't get a strong bounce and we break below this level and bearishly retest it as resistance, I will be expecting lower prices for Bitcoin, potentially down to these the lows of the range in the 18,000s. But if we hold the box, if we hold 19.6 essentially on the higher time frames, it will allow us to come down and make a higher low and continue this bullish market structure to get some higher prices. So that's basically what I'm looking for, guys. 19.6 is that line in the sand for me. So if we do come down and break 20K, I'm not panicking until we break 19.6. Oh, hey, it's breathing down my neck. I think that's my cue, guys. That's all I got. Shout out to Garrett Soloway. I'm going live at 5:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And smash that like button if you're happy that Ben's back. Oh, God. Bing bong.
Bing to the bong. Got my hair cut this morning.
Yeah.
Don't have my typical hair gel, so it looks a little different, but it's fine. Matt always does a great job on the hair. She said, you got your hair cut over there, TJ?
I did. Yeah, I go over
Oh,
there
wow,
a
man.
decent amount, but that was
Yeah.
the first time she'd ever cut
Well,
it.
she said, you hadn't been there since May, I think. So you haven't had your hair cut since May?
No,
You
she
cheating
cut
on
my
her?
hair like 3 or 4 weeks ago, and that was the first time she.
Oh,
There,
that's what I meant.
maybe it was
Yeah.
between then and May, the first time. I don't know.
Did I
Yeah.
wash my hands? Wasn't in the bathroom. Shooting a very important video, guys. I just shot this video. It's very long. It's probably 30 minutes.
Wow.
On the token promotion business, and I'm calling out all crypto influencers, all Twitter folks, all YouTubers. Let's set a standard for what's promotable in this business and what's not. I think some people might be irritated because it's a great money source for people, but in the world of crypto going forward, before this next bull run, we've got to nip this in the bud. People have to stop promoting coins, on videos and doing that kind of sponsored content. I think sponsored content's okay, or sponsors are okay. Wallets, we'll go over what's acceptable in my opinion and what's not in the video, but you guys are definitely going to want to watch that, and we're going to want to make sure this circulates throughout the community of content creators, because this is all stuff I go in detail about how the token promotion business works, why it's continually happening cycle after cycle, and how we can stop it, and the predators that are out there today. So certainly hope that you guys will check out that video there. So it said rules for thee, but not for me. We haven't done promotion since January, and that's the thing, right? Which is, we used to do them. If I could go back in time, I wouldn't. If I could go back in time, I would not do them. I had to go through a learning process to get here, and now it's my responsibility. Let's stop it. That's how I feel.
Well, I was gonna say, if we could have, we would have done it with these standards to begin with. It took us a while to learn. Like, there's nothing wrong with having some sponsors, but which sponsors and which way obviously matters.
Well, the problem is, I talk about this on the video, over time, we thought we could put these in a box so that if they fit in this one box, it will be okay. And over time, we'd have to keep changing the box because they'd figure out a way to change the smart contract, or we would find out that, they didn't honor the ICO price or whatever it was, or IDO price, or that a bunch of insiders dumped it as soon as it sold. Because of that, it just doesn't make sense to do token promotion. 90% of them are not going to go anywhere, if not more than that. And so what I learned is you can't whittle it down. You can't put these in a corner so far that you're definitely going to be giving your audience value every single time that you do one. The big projects, they don't do promotion. I did a promo video for Algorand.
Yeah.
The first week it was out, actually, which is interesting. It's the one project that I know. And Cortezi, we're an advisor for. I didn't say that on the video. I think advisor roles can also be okay in some cases, but it still gets a little sketchy if it's for a coin. So, there we go. All right, let's move on here. I want to talk about Bankless real quick. Did y'all talk about that already?
No.
Okay.
Some
So-
people in the chat. That's it.
Yeah. So obviously I started kind of talking about some of this stuff on Bankless yesterday. Thank you to Ryan and David for having me on. And I think maybe the plan was not to be respectful, but but we were mostly respectful back and forth. And I think that one thing that they said on there that is very funny is that they said, "Who are these people at conferences? Don't know who you are." How many of y'all in the chat have ever been to a conference where I've been there? Tell them. Just let them know.
Right.
I didn't move for 4 to 6 hours at Bitcoin 2021 or 2021.
You made it like 5 steps in.
5 steps in.
Yeah.
DecentralCon, I couldn't move.
Yeah, we were looking for back doors.
Yeah, we had to get back doors. People do know who I am. And the Bankless podcast listed 3 entities that they believed are the people to lead crypto regulation. And so here's what's funny. I'm not going to say which one it is, but I reached out to one of these people about, wanted to just connect and things like that. And the person said that I was part of the reason they got into crypto.
Right.
I was one of the channels.
The BitBoy crypto channel was what orange pilled them.
Yeah, exactly. So I want to protect the anonymity of that person. But that's such a big thing for them to say that I'm not capable of doing this. And then from my, Bill Parcells, Bill Belichick tree down there somewhere, someone who is responsible, they believe, for doing this kind of legislation, well, they came in at least partly through my channel. So that's why I love being the mainstream channel. We look at the ripples that we cause. We look at the people that are in crypto because of me, people that run conferences, people that work at IOG, people that work all across the industry, different exchanges, the whole thing. And that's what I'm very proud of, is that we've educated more people on crypto than anybody else on the planet. And, I know a lot of people are making comments about their tone towards me and things like that. I don't want to get into that. I think certainly there was an attempt to try to trigger me at certain points. And I just decided going on to the show that I just wasn't going to get triggered, because the message is that important of what's going on with the legislation and the battle. It never got super contentious or anything like that. There's some points I wish they would have seen a little more clearly. But it's okay. I've got no problem with those guys. If they ever want to come on the show, we might have them on the show, if they would like to at some point. Maybe they can come to my audience. They say our Venn diagram doesn't overlap that much, which I don't believe it does. It does some, but not all the way. So I think that should put some closure on the rant as far as, Ryan Sean Adams goes and all that. I did send them copies of the bill and stuff, so they have that to look at now, so that they'll know what we're doing. But anyways, wanted to talk about all that because I do feel like it's very important. If you guys did not see it, let's give them some more views. Go check out the Bankless podcast after this. I want to know how you guys think I did. So, okay, Dirty Gary's in the chat again. There he is. All right, so let's move on. I want a serious talk about cryptocurrency rather than Ben. You said something that hurt my feelings. Oh, I see. That was from the podcast. Yeah, it's fine. The one thing I just couldn't understand that, like, he couldn't see. He justified his attack towards me.
I know.
Like, it's totally okay, and I shouldn't take it personal. But my attack towards him, definitely, it was personal. And it's like, well, the reason I responded and reacted like that is because I took it personally.
I thought that was interesting too. And he said, "Don't you see how they're pretty much the same thing?" And he just completely moved on.
And like I said,
it is what it is.
I'm not trying to throw them under the bus on it. I don't want to say anything negative about the interview, because I think it was well. I think overall it was conducted in a good fashion.
Yeah.
I think they tried to back out of it. Get their audience to say they didn't want me on the channel. I think, but after making such a big deal about having me on, but it's whatever. Whatever they got to do to get more attention to their podcast. That'll make sense if you watch it. But guys, if you're a YouTuber or a podcaster, your game is attention. Period. We're all trying to get attention. Why do you think Bankless Podcast has interesting guests? It's for attention. They're not doing it for their own benefit to sit and have these talks. It can be enjoyable, but we're all here after attention, and we're all learning how to do it, as we go. So, all right, let's see. Futures tumble after the rate hike. Record inflow of stablecoins fled spot exchanges. Let's see. Bitcoin seller exhaustion hits 4-year low and typical bear market move. Whoa, that's big right there. So
I saw that. Yeah,
it means we're near the bottom, at least time wise. Lining up what I've said. Longest negative streak for gold after 7 monthly red candles. So there you go. There's some gold stuff. I also want to say we have Simon Dixon coming on at 12:30. We've got a very interesting conversation we're going to have about Celsius and what's at stake. What's at stake with Celsius? You're definitely going to want to listen, because there's all kinds of lawyers out there right now trying to buy your account, or especially if you have a bigger account, for 30%. We should all be getting back more than 30%. It's my understanding that no matter what happens, I believe we'll be getting 50%, end of this year, last week of this year, maybe first quarter of next year. But so don't, unless you absolutely have to have it, try not to take that 30%. The question is, are you going to receive it in your crypto assets, or are you going to receive it in cash and somebody keeps all the crypto assets? And guess who it would be that would get to keep all your crypto? Shocker. Give you one hint.
My question for him is going to be if there's any timeline, like whether it's cash or crypto is one thing, but also when would you receive it? Would it be soon? Would it take a long time? That sort of stuff. Like, is it this year or a year from now?
Yeah. No, I think it's going to be very quick.
I hope so.
I think once the auction goes,
that's the impression I get too, but I'm not sure.
Brock W, people keep saying not to buy high risk assets and cash is king right now. In some countries, staying in their fiat currency is the high risk asset. Not in America right now. You know, in America, well, the DXY is still getting stronger, but it's because the world currencies are getting weaker. Our inflation is still very strong, very high. So, cash is king. But right now is the time you start thinking about deploying some of that cash back into some of the higher risk assets. Look, Crypto Savvy would tell you don't do that. That's a terrible mistake. It's going down way lower. I don't believe that. So what does that mean? Ultimately, you should do a mixture of what you feel like is right for you. But I would not keep everything out in cash. I would not put all my cash in right now. Figure out a ratio that makes sense. So FTX ruined Tom Brady's marriage, they say. Polygon, Arweave, jump double digits as Meta's Instagram announces new NFT tools. Arweave is one I've had my eye on.
I know. We were literally shilling it on Blockchain Basement a few days ago, talking about how decentralized storage coins are important. You know, we obviously Filecoin comes up a lot, and then we said Arweave is a great one, seems to be, and then here we go, 50% pump today.
Is Bankless in the chat? Somebody said they're in the chat. Are they in the chat? Scroll up. I don't think they're verified. Keep going. Let's see.
No, they do have. I think they do have a verified account.
Yeah, maybe they're talking about. If they're in the chat, say something again. We'd love to talk to you, so you can't talk back. I'm just kidding. Okay. Yeah, I didn't see him in the chat. They've never watched a minute of my content, obviously, other than that rant. That was very, very apparent. And you know what? At least they were honest about it.
Yeah.
There was another person that we talked to last year who said that they watched all of these videos that they were talking about, and they didn't watch a second of any of them. So at least they told the truth. So I respect them from that.
Yeah, I was gonna say, all in all, I respect everybody for stepping up, having the conversation. We don't, and that's what we do a lot on this channel. You don't have to agree all the time, but if you can have an honest conversation, I think that's what everybody can benefit from. You know, honest discourse in a lot of ways.
Yeah. Well, I think I see some people saying, look, I will try to control the way that I speak to people a little bit better on Twitter. I'm gonna try. I can't promise because I like to fly off the handle sometimes, and I will sometimes for sure, but I'm going to try to do a better job not to make fun of glasses and I can't not make fun of Sam Bankman-Fried's hair. I can't not make fun of it. I can't commit to that. I can't commit to not making fun of Sam Bankman-Fried's afro. I will make y'all a deal. We will do it like this is negotiating here. Okay. What you receive is almost name calling and making fun of criticism gone. It's all just criticism of attitudes. No people's personal appearance. You receive that, mostly that. In return, I get Janet Yellen's hair. I get Gary Gensler as a lizard person. I get Jerome Powell as a Christmas elf. I get Sam Bankman-Fried's hair. And lastly, obviously, we're still going to make fun of Mark Davis of the Raiders. Yeah, if y'all will give me those 5 things, I will commit to not making any more personal attacks towards anybody else. SBF is a security. Okay, so Arweave one we looked at, we really like. News that Instagram will leverage Polygon to let users mint and sell NFTs has sent Matic soaring up 14.3%. This is the social media platform's latest Web3 integration amid intense competition with TikTok and Alphabet's YouTube. Why do they call it Alphabet? Like, can they not just say Google? Like, I know Alphabet's the company.
I mean, if you're trying to, they're probably just trying to get more characters in there.
Yeah.
Longer word, you know.
Benjamin has the same hairstyle as me. Gary Gensler in the chat. That's not true, Gary. You have a cul-de-sac on your head. Oh, Brad Sherman. I got to add him too. Brad Sherman.
Banking broad.
Well, yeah, but that's not making fun of her appearance. We just call her the banking broad because she's in with the banks.
Yeah.
But long lambasted by creators for its lack of direct creator compensation, Instagram now appears to be caving in. Blockchain has a role in this because it can enable entirely new business models for creators that give them more control over their work and audiences. How big do you feel like this is?
I think it's kind of like, I think it's big. But it's not going to be big immediately. Like, it's a fundamental shift in social media that's been going on for the last year or two. I mean, I think this is kind of the Patreon model is getting destroyed, and it's what we see a lot with these social media metrics, kind of like what's happening with Twitter when sub businesses can come up from it, like, selling verification, and that becomes an entire industry that's going to get wiped out by Twitter's $8 verification.
Yeah.
similarly with this, Patreon created an entire new industry of like, hey, here's how creators can get paid for premium content for their super fans. And all these big social media platforms realize like, okay, that's a industry we could capitalize on now. Let's roll that into our model. So it's not going to change anything overnight, but long term, this is very positive, I think, for content creators.
Yeah, I agree 100%. Guys, I will never not rant. I will always rant. Don't think I'm saying I'm not going to rant. I'll just try not to make fun of people's appearance while I'm ranting.
I think that's good.
It can be like a game where I try to get my blood pressure as high as possible without a personal attack. Like even when somebody says something stupid in the chat, like Kenny or whatever. So, but he's dead, so maybe we won't have any more. Are we up 60%? We already talked about this a little bit. CBDCs are no threat to crypto, says CZ, which I agree 100%.
Yeah, it's interesting. I was reading a Twitter thread this morning about
Yeah.
how miserably it failed in Africa. Or Nigeria, I think. Did you see that? They rolled out a CBDC and they
Was it? I don't think it was. Where was it?
I'm pretty sure it was Nigeria.
Was it?
I can.
Nigeria's a big country.
That's why. That's what they were saying. They
Yeah.
were trying to roll it out to the most populated. I think it's most populated in Africa. Oh, look, I think I retweeted it.
No, Nigeria is Nigeria's like the fourth. It's gonna pass the United States in like 20 years. Yeah, you're right. Nigeria and Ghana.
Yeah.
Ghana was the one I was thinking of.
So they
And there was another one, like, wasn't there like Central African something also tried it as well? I think. But go ahead.
So according to Bloomberg, only 1 in 200 Nigerians use the Inara. So
Yeah.
they're thinking like, oh, they're very pro crypto. They love Bitcoin
Yeah.
there. We're going to roll out the CBDC. They'll eat it up. They won't really be able to understand the difference between Bitcoin and this digital currency. Well, guess what? They do. And nobody's interested in that CBDC whatsoever. So it was a massive failure.
Well, China's digital yuan didn't do very well
Yep.
either. And I think the thing to really look at here in Africa specifically is they are very digital friendly. It may surprise some people, but they, the way they actually trade money over there in certain countries, like where's Akon from? Senegal.
So,
Right.
oh, the cell phone minutes?
Cell phone minutes. They
Yeah.
use the cell phone minutes are more valuable than the currency, right? Because everybody, they're trying to build a digital city there in Senegal. Akon is so very interesting stuff going on there. You guys know Akon, a friend of the channel, been on the show before. But the fact that they've already been preconditioned to use kind of alternative currency and the CBDC still didn't work, to me, that's pretty damning. And I think here's the thing to think about, guys, which is when I always have said this.
We got one in the chat. He's in Nigeria.
He said it was a
total
failure. Thank you for that. Boots on the ground there. We learned boots on the ground are very important yesterday. So the idea is a lot of people are saying that CBDCs are going to kill crypto. That is not true at all. Okay. What we should be actually kind of worried about in the world of crypto is getting our DeFi taken away or getting our peer-to-peer transactions taken away with the legal system. We don't need to worry about a CBDC. We need to be more concerned about how that's going to steal our privacy and control us and manipulate us. CBDCs are not going to compete against a speculative crypto market. It's not like think about all the money flowing into crypto. Why do you think it's flowing into crypto? It's speculation right now because it's hoping that some of these networks have use cases that grow these pseudo companies to gigantic market caps where everybody makes money and people can create businesses on top of these chains. That's why people are in crypto. People are not in crypto to spend digital money. That's not why the vast majority are there. So it's not like CBDCs are all of a sudden going to take away this liquidity for the crypto speculation market. In fact, I would actually say they would add to it because now you have a new way to digitally move money to exchanges much quicker and not have to worry about the problems from your bank unless Sam Bankman-Fried's plan gets worked out and they have a federal bit license. And now you can't use a decentralized platform. So if you send your money, you can't send your money to a decentralized platform. You can't send it to Coinbase and buy Bitcoin with it and then send that to a decentralized platform. Coinbase will blocklist all those addresses. So that's what's at stake here. Ben and team, thank you for opening the doors of such valuable info. It's helped me greatly. Thank you, Mark. Appreciate that. A lot of great comments these days on the channel. Certainly appreciate all of you guys in the BitSquad, the most hardcore community in crypto. By the way, guys, go vote for me on this. Go to BitBoy_crypto. We were at 911. We were at 911. I guess we lost a follower. What, are we literally? We lost 45 followers in the last hour. I wonder why. It's weird. Probably a bot cleanup. So here's the tweet right here. I'm going to pin this. I'm going to take the Web3 off for a couple days. Let's pin this. Go vote for me on this. I'm competing against Jamie's, which I'm going to be honest with you, I don't know who that is. I wish I knew who that is. Carl, BitBoy Crypto, Ivan on Tech, Elon Musk,
Elon Musk,
Andre Swift TV. So do you notice anything weird about this? Do you notice anything weird about this graphic? Does anybody see it? I'm going to leave it up because I want to see if people in the chat notice it. But yeah, so I'm going to pin this, go to my Twitter, and if you guys can all go vote for me, I'd appreciate it. It's not, I don't care if I win or not, really, but I want to give you guys an opportunity to go, make it happen. Guys, I've won more crypto influencer awards than I know what to do with. I got so many championship belts that I can't even display them all. So other people can win. That's great. This one's out of the country, so that's why, it might be nice to win this, but
Elon looking at you? Is that's what you were talking about?
Yeah, do you see that?
Yeah.
Huh. A little strange. Give me the side eye. Come on, Elon. So anyways, there you go. You guys go check that out and vote for me on that. Let's see. Where are we at? There's Nigeria.
Oh, that was it.
Oh, this was
we
a
had a
story
story
right
on it.
here. Nigerians shun E-Naira CBDC, ruling elite, favoring real crypto for the people. There you go. Can you put that link in the chat? Go to Twitter and find that.
Yes.
Okay. Nigeria Central Bank digital currency was adopted by 0.5%, launched in October of 2021. Guys, what a great time to launch crypto. Widespread confusion and general mistrust of the ruling elite have hampered its adoption among the $218 million person populace. Nigeria will be the third largest country in the world, I think, 2050. It will actually outgrow India at some point in the next 100 years, I think. Acon coin is traded for cell phone minutes, so value did not take a hit during dip. Just FYI. There you go. Interesting. It's acting like a stable coin towards the cell phone minutes there. Nigerians prefer real crypto. And guys, this is just more evidence of what I keep telling you guys, why it's so important. This is a good comment. This is one from this guy, V. He's actually managed to turn my weight loss into a negative thing. This is a good one. This is good because you guys know, people call me fat. Really did have to do with some motivation for me to lose weight. And he says, starving are we, fat boy? Even though right now you're skinny. You were fat. You're just covering up your fatness with skinniness. Well, let me tell you, V. I'm sure in real life you are a V. Is what I'll tell you. Very soft. But there you go.
Well, so how long did we make it?
I just said it was soft. I didn't attack the way he looks.
Oh,
I can't see him. He's Anon. He won't even come out from behind the curtain.
So I'm gonna stop attacking people just the way they look.
Well, I feel like an Anon person with a V.
Did you see Jordan Peterson just tearing Anon's a new one on Russell Brand's podcast?
Oh, no.
Udi, he reposted it and said it was about Bitcoin Maxi, which he doesn't say anything about Maxis. He was just joking. But he was just talking about, visceral Anon accounts, trolls, whatever. He has a very strong opinion about them.
Well, when you get to a place near the top, when you're near the top of your industry, like he is, like we are, you're just going to get attacked all the time. And it can sting sometimes. I think
he called them demons.
Demons?
Demons.
Called them demons. Wow.
Yeah.
I have a demon. It's a vehicle.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, look, in crypto, we're in a tough spot because we're supposed to protect anonymity. The thing that I would like to see, this is what I would like to see. I would like to see more credit shown to those who are willing to put their faces out and put their names and their faces and their brands behind the stuff that they do, instead of the Anon accounts that have no responsibility. They have zero responsibility. Nobody knows who they are.
That's basically what he was saying. Like he was very clear with the way he was defining it. Like if they have an Anon account, he said usually their name is very aggressive and negative and mean. And basically he says stuff that you could never say in normal society or you get punched in the face.
Yeah.
So they hide in their basement and say it. Basically, I mean, it was.
Well, out of all, I probably met 100,000 people in crypto at conferences over the years. One guy called me a shitcoiner when he walked by me. And I was going to go jerk that hat off his head with a little feather in it. But then somebody, you know what happened? As I'm going to do it, someone steps in front of me and asks for a picture. I said, okay, sure, I'll take a picture. Watch them leave. But the thing is, nobody ever says anything negative in person. All the people that hate me on Reddit, they see me in person, they come take a picture with me. They're excited, right? But on Reddit, it's a brand to be negative. And so they have to keep that up. And there's a lot of accounts on in crypto Twitter that are also the same way. They have a brand to protect by being negative to influencers and things like that. But the fact is, I want people to be able to be anonymous. One of our researchers is a high-level finance guy. He can't have his name out for crypto Twitter. He has to protect it. So because of that, there are sometimes anonymity is absolutely necessary. But I think that I just want more credit shown. Like, it makes more sense for the people with their faces out to be honest than the people that are cartoon characters. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Hope it does. All right. There we go. Nigeria, we already talked about it. The era of all-powerful banks is over. The era of all-powerful central banks is over. I just said the same exact sentence 2 times in a row. For a simple reason. They failed. This is the title, guys. Eddie Parrott refuses to be anon. Title, it baffles bankers. This is why. They failed their citizens, their nations, and they failed the world. The banks did. Policies have pushed wealth and income inequality to extremes. They launder money. They've destabilized the planet. Once finance dominates, then both the market and government become servants of finance. Government, regardless of the advertised brand, becomes an auction. The bottom 90% have lost ground, not just economically, but also politically and socially. The way central banks create and distribute credit money results in the dominance of finance and derivatives. We've got a big video coming out on this, by the way, about money laundering in banks. You're going to be shocked at some of that information. People say negative stuff because we want a conversation with you, Ben, to understand your different opinion because we appreciate you. If it's done respect, look, I don't want anyone to ever think that I am not open to criticism. I am certainly open to criticism. I'm not open to people being disrespectful with the criticism. I'm not open to criticism that comes from people that haven't even watched a minute of my content. Certainly will take criticism from this BitSquad. If you guys ever think I'm off track, you guys can certainly tell me and I'll listen. But, you know, the way things are delivered toxically, and I tell you, when you guys find out what happened to me a few weeks ago, we're going to be able to tell the story in about 3 weeks. You're going to be shocked. You're not going to believe what happened to me. And I think for people to understand, we're real people. Treat us like real people. You know, don't treat us like we're a walking meme with no brain in their head like some people do. That makes no sense. The Australia dates, they don't have the exact dates for it yet.
You shot the Casper video?
Yes, Casper video is shot.
Yep.
Yeah. Central bankers and government authorities are aware the system is unraveling. Reining in central banks free money for financiers and cronies is a necessary first step to unseating finance. And guys, I think what we're going to see is we're going to see this battle fought around the world before it's really fought here in America. They're just staving off as long as they can to have this big battle between decentralization and centralization. Obviously, SBF is trying to front run it and help centralization to win. But I talked to several bankers in Money 2020, and they all said the same thing. They said, look, we like crypto, we like Bitcoin. They weren't even, Ethereum didn't mean anything to them. But the idea that, the banks are going to let go in America just because crypto is so popular, I said, they'll let us all move to Dubai. We can all move to Dubai. They're keeping what they got. That's the kind of attitude that the banks have right now. So it's gonna be a long time before we can actually see the results of this. I think it's going to be not this cycle, but probably the next cycle. We're going to see some of this start coming out. But I think we're 10, 15 years away from adoption. So 4 to 8 years probably in that range of that big battle. We haven't got there yet. But it's starting with the regulation. It's starting right now. JP Morgan executes first DeFi trade on a public blockchain.
I thought that this was interesting.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
It was facilitated by the Monetary Authority of Singapore's Project Guardian on November 2nd, established as part of a pilot program. The pilot was another step in examining how traditional financial institutions can use tokenized assets in DeFi protocols. I've always told you guys since the very beginning is that the way the bankers tear crypto is from the inside out. So, of course, JP Morgan is in there fooling around with DeFi right now and tokenized assets. They're trying to figure out a way. Here's the question. This was the question that was posed to me. It was posed to me. How do the banks monetize crypto? Within that lies the answer into what will be the result of this war between decentralization and centralization. If there's a way for banks to monetize crypto and get a big enough piece of the pie that they feel like they're full, And it also provides opportunities for the average person to also be able to get a piece of their pie. That's the perfect storm formula to make this a very easy transition. But if they're going to try to take away DeFi and they're going to try to make all crypto run through the banks, well, that defeats the purpose of crypto, and we're not going to accept that. So there's got to be a solution that lies somewhere in the middle there. And if we can figure out what that is, when somebody solves that, you want to talk about solving the blockchain trilemma, when you can solve, the banker greed dilemma, then I think you can have the answer on, how we can all move forward together without all having to move to Dubai. So, okay, so there you go. It was done on Polygon using a modified version of Aave's protocol. As we know, the Aave runs on Arbitrum now, I think, right? So,
Yep.
So you can use Polygon and Arbitrum at the same time. I'm confused by that sentence just based on the information we had yesterday. Okay, so there you go. And look how excited they are. JP Morgan has executed its first live trade on public blockchain using DeFi.
Obviously, they were swapping something to JPY, their token. So, like when you're saying
JPM.
Is it JPM? I thought it was
JPM.
JPY.
No, JPM.
Yeah.
That's Japanese yen, I believe. JPY. JP Morgan coin, which is a private coin on a private blockchain on Ethereum. On Ethereum, we call it enterprise private blockchains. It's called Quorum. So there you go, a little information for you. Let's see. Ben looking good in all black. Go Raiders. Leave Mr. Davis alone. That haircut, I can't do it, bro. Car fair game though. Josh McDaniel. What's going on with that? Web3 companies are feeling the crunch of a bear market. We're going to look at Dapper Labs here, laying off 22% of their employees. Latest one to announce slashing its team is NFT powerhouse Dapper Labs. And I think this is good. I certainly hate it for the people that lost all the money or the lost the jobs. I always hate that for them. But I think for the market, this is good right now. We need to see more contraction, in my opinion, from companies, from investors to get to that bottom. We need companies to really start looking at what they're doing. We've reorganized our entire business here and what we do. We threw out some things we were doing. We're going harder on some things that are more in our wheelhouse. And so we've gone through that process. People in this, it's not all about building during the bear market. It's about building smarter and more sustainable in the bear market. And that's what we've done here. And it's good to see companies doing that. It really gets you excited for what is going to happen in the next bull run. Because when you go from, 500 employees to 400 employees, that's a big deficit. You got to become quicker, more efficient, weed out things that aren't profitable and things like that. So let's see. Company grew from 100 to 600 in less than 2 years. Takes responsibility for that in addition to the difficult decision of laying off its staff. Guys, this is what we talk about all the time with the job market. We also want to see this with the job market. We need to see more layoffs, more firings, not because we want to see people without jobs, but because it finally means the recession is hitting. We can't get out of it until it fully hits. So obviously, this is a good example of the recession finally having the crypto winter and the recession having some effects. Check out Trader R at Pro Traders Lounge YouTube on his Bitcoin fractal prediction. That doesn't seem like a shill. That seems like a legitimate thing to look at. So now, BG, are you actually Trader R? Is that you? Hey, a YouTuber, I'm not going to say who it is, but a YouTuber that we had a beef with that I had to send a cease and desist to a while back, took down the video. He reached out to me and he said, hey, I want to let bygones be bygones. Like, I appreciate everything you're doing for the people. I had the wrong impression of you. So
nice.
That was big. It was big. He apologized. And, I certainly let him know, like, look, people apologize. I can move on. Almost anybody. I would almost say actually anybody. I'm a forgiving person. I know it doesn't seem like I would be because I do, have some internal resentments, I guess. And I get a little aggressive. But when someone asks, that they say they were wrong, I'll always forgive them because it's what we're supposed to do, because the only people that lose in unforgiveness are the people that are holding the unforgiveness. So yeah, I thought that was a pretty cool thing that came out of all this stuff, by the way. I was very happy to see that. So he's actually going to come on the channel at some point. So, maybe I don't want to out him and say this guy apologized to me, because I don't think that's the right thing to do. But definitely some cool stuff happening in the DMs these days. Deep learning algorithm predicts Cardano to trade above 50 cents by November 30th. What's it at now? 45 cents?
Cardano?
Oh, is it 39?
Yeah.
XRP is at 45, right? Yeah. They're expecting a 25% pump. That's interesting. Oh, it's not SBF. Paul, it was not him. I don't ever expect that person to. We've said our stuff, and that will never be touched.
We got Simon in the wings whenever, if we want to hop in there or come back, you know.
Where are we at? We're almost done.
Okay.
Let me finish. Maybe 5 more minutes, and then we'll bring Simon on. Okay, yeah. So there we go. Cardano struggled. They're just basing this on charts, I guess. That looks like some quant analysis, maybe. Fair track record of accuracy up until the sudden market collapse. It's also pointing out it looks to be in a long-term massive area to buy for investments. What do we call that?
Accumulation.
Thank you. Invite Trader R at Pro Traders Lounge. Maybe. Yeah. I mean, I'll check his stuff out if it's good. We may do it. We may not. But I like having new people on the channel. So I don't. Do you think Cardano is going to do this?
44%?
Not by November 30th.
No.
That we should be seeing the bottom after that, like around that time.
Yeah, it's hard for me to see that playing out.
Yeah. Wi-Fi 5G Josh says he's homeless but still investing. Crypto's a dream, guys. Crypto's a dream. It's not just dollars and cents. I appreciate you supporting the channel and watching. Wish the best to you. Clinton Corey says, look up Bluebird Index. You want to look that up, TJ, while
Sure.
the XRP story? XRP decoding the launch. If you're in the XRP army, throw the X up as always. And there was a moment on the Bankless podcast I want to address where they asked me about the 589 XRP thumbnail I had. And I don't think 589 is possible for Ripple or for XRP. Maybe 100 years from now. I don't know. Like, I can't say what money will look like in 25 or 30 years even. But based on what we know now, I wouldn't expect it to be able to get above, probably not triple digits, maybe high double digits, maybe extremely low triple digits one day. But I don't see 589 as a possibility, okay? They then asked me, they went on to say, well, if you are not for the suits, if you're not for the elites, then why are you for the banker coin? And I didn't answer that question because they actually moved very quickly to, like, in the same breath that they asked that question, if I'm remembering correctly, they moved directly into another topic.
And then you said, like, I want to come back to that, but you weren't able to do it.
Yeah, I wasn't able to do that. So I wanted to, be able to. No, CoinTango was not him. I don't expect him to ever apologize. But anyways, the point being, I wish I thought about it last night in bed. I was thinking about, I never answered that question. I'll answer it now. The SEC going after Ripple is what galvanized me for them. The enemy of my enemy is my friend. I didn't like Ripple before. I didn't like XRP. But what happened is, by joining forces with the XRP army to fight the SEC, which is a very worthy fight, what happened is I realized this XRP community is the most misrepresented community out there. These are the most passionate people in crypto. The Bitcoin maxis, the Cardano community, and the XRP army, bar none. They're the most dedicated people out there. And I've really fallen in love with the community and the interaction and the engagement. I don't do it for clicks. I really like the people. Solomon, what's the other guy? Blackberry, Intuitive Blackberry, I think his name.
I mean, BC Backer for sure.
BC Backer. Been going back and forth all the time with David Schwartz. Like, I love it. It's great. It feels like home in the XRP army, and I'm glad to be part of it. I wish I would have been able to answer that question a little better. Also, you have XRPL, which is totally decentralized. People are building stuff on it all the time right now. All the NFTs with XLS20. So, I definitely think that there's validity there. And I didn't get to answer that yesterday, so I did want to say it now. I was up at night thinking about it. Following the eventual implementation of XLS20, the standard for XRPL NFTs, on November 1st, Marketplace logged a total sales volume of $5.75 million. XRP for XRP Punk NFTs. That's just for X Punk? Wow. Maybe we should have launched. It's okay. We'll wait. We'll wait till we want the suppression to be gone before we launch. After a prolonged decline in the developmental activity of XRP's network, the launch of the NFT standard causes Metric to see some traction on November 1st. You guys can see it here. So big stuff happening. I know Ripple Labs itself was very excited about this update, not just the community. XRP records 1,500% volume spike. What's going on? Obviously having to do with XRP NFTs yesterday, I believe. Nothing to do with the case. No big news broke yesterday. XRP volume may have caused investors want to buy XRP at current range in anticipation of a major market move. Maybe it was a video I made yesterday. Wi-Fi Josh. That's funny. Hey, don't send me a $5 super chat. Get yourself a sandwich. I don't need your money, bud. But this guy said he was homeless, but still investing. So, but I appreciate that. It means a lot that you did do it, though. I think that video I made yesterday with our profit-taking strategy, I want to know what people thought about that. I think it was pretty good. So, discussing XRP's latest NFT developments at the back of XRPL Punks. Crypto markets interest has been growing tremendously. We want to get XRPL rolled out on Vimeo. That's a big priority for us. In a recent post, now the app itself is not launched yet. We have the website and the Twitter account up. So there you go, 1.4 million in terms of volume. Man, they are crushing over there at XRPL Punks. I love that. Good guy, that Kaj Leroy guy. Remains to be seen whether XRP can capitalize on the interest, yada, yada, yada. Okay, that's it. As we move into this with Simon Dixon, just this story here, Sam Bankman-Fried's Alameda holds $14.6 billion in assets.
Hey, look, there's his haircut. He trimmed it.
Wow.
Old picture.
Wow. Is it old or did he cut it yesterday?
I think it's old.
It's definitely old. So, okay. All right. Because SBF is very relevant to this conversation we're going to be having today. You guys know that the two people that I think are the biggest enemies of crypto are Alex Mashinsky and the SBF. And obviously right now,
Simon, if you could mute the computer there so we don't get it coming in double.
Right.
Thanks.
Yeah. Yeah, just when I'm talking, you just mute it. And then when you talk, well, no, you can't hear me if I'm muted. Do you have headphones?
It's going to take a little setup.
That's okay.
Are we live?
Yeah,
we are.
It's okay. You can go grab it. We can pull me back up while you fix that. We just want everybody to get a good, experience here. So just pull me back up, TJ.
Yeah.
This is not working. What I just did here. I need a clip. I offered Gary Gensler a job. This should be Gary Gensler's job to clip my mic on me. I said he could be our security officer, but thought about he could follow me around with a fan too. So let's look at this story real quick, because SBF is very important to this Celsius story. Alameda Research, a trading firm linked to major crypto exchange FTX, had $14.6 billion of assets. As much as $5.82 billion consists of the exchange's native token FTT. The large asset on the firm's balance sheet is some $3.66 billion unlocked. Third largest asset owned by Alameda Research is FTT collateral. Firm's liabilities are also partly compromised by FTT. Some $292 million of locked FTT are among Alameda Research's aggregate $8 billion worth of liabilities. Alameda Research has used its assets to seek market acquisitions in cooperation with FTX. They're leveraging their own token to be able to make purchases to build their empire before they try to roll out this BIT license. Let's see. They secured the approval of the U.S. Bankruptcy Court for Voyager. And you may not know this, but they are also going after Celsius, and they are going after it very hard. What's up, Simon?
Yeah, hopefully this is okay.
Yeah, it should be fine.
If I do that, I'm going to mess up my mic setup. Is it all right?
Okay. Yeah, that's fine. I'm trying to think if there's a quick workaround.
It should be fine.
Yeah,
You're not coming through now.
Okay.
As long as he can hear us.
Yeah, he can hear us. Okay. Yeah, if you could keep the volume down while I'm talking, like that would be perfect. Like just down a couple notches, I think it would be perfect. As long as you can still hear it.
Okay, cool.
Perfect. Okay, guys, this is live TV. This is why we do what we do. We love it. Simon, we talked a couple days ago, and there's a lot of very interesting stuff moving with Celsius. I had told you that we got an offer from an attorney, and I'm not saying the attorneys are bad people and they're trying to scam you, but they offered us 30% of our Celsius claim, which people know. We talked about we lost $3 million. Well, a lot of that was tied into that loan that we got liquidated because we couldn't actually trade our own funds in there to be able to pay off the loan or to down the collateral. So our actual amount is somewhere between 1.5 and 2 million that we have. And so they were offering us 30%. I asked you if that was a good idea, and you said not if you could hold out longer. What is the big thing that we're waiting on here? And why do you think that people should wait and not take those buyout offers?
Yeah, so it's been a really long journey since we last spoke.
Yeah,
obviously, big changes are the co-founders were chucked out. As soon as the co-founders were chucked out, it really rapidly moved forward without many of the barriers. And so since then, we've discovered a lot. Firstly, we've had coin reports, and the coin reports state that there's about, it obviously depends upon crypto prices because they keep dollarizing everything. but there's about $2.7 billion of crypto relative to $5.7 billion that they owe if you don't include the sell token, because if you release a sell token on the market, it's obviously a race to zero. So there's about a $3 billion crypto missing. But what has really come through is that there is a lot of other assets. So obviously our money was used in order to invest heavily in a mining operation. It was also a VC investment. And so there's all these intangible or less liquid assets rather that are popping up. And, it was, for example, a bunch of money was just sent over to somebody to just start trading with. And it was worth about $1 billion at the time. They lost approximately somewhere between 300 million to 30 million. So there's all these crazy things that keep popping up.
I understand how they were doing. Like we did a video recently on Lido Finance. I don't know if it's came out yet or not. Maybe it hasn't. But really learning how Lido Finance works and how this ties into the whole thing is basically you're able to stake your Ethereum on Lido and earn a return. And then you actually get synthetic wrapped Ethereum. So what you can do at that point is it's STETH. You can then take that and leverage that on other DeFi sites. As long as you end up putting back the original amount, you get all your ETH back from the staking. So what was going on is they were staking it on Lido and they were taking their STETH and they were making extremely irresponsible, like 5 a.m. Desperate at the craps table to win your money back types of decisions. And they lost that money. And then they weren't able to recover the Ethereum that was locked up in those contracts. My best of my understanding, I think that's kind of the game that they were using and over leveraging.
Yeah, I mean, that's just one part of it. They also invested, hundreds of millions into Bitcoin mining operations,
right?
Which, didn't work out. They've got all sorts of proceeding on. And so essentially it was just one big ginormous hedge fund that was completely mismanaged, any regulations, disclosure, or anything. And so if you really boil it back down right now, if you really, really need the money, so you asked me the question, the reason someone's willing to buy your claim for 30% is because they know that approximately 40 to 50% will come back just in the crypto without any of the illiquid assets.
Yeah.
If they sold all those illiquid assets at the bottom of the market right now, depending on what your perception is, then you'd get probably another 10 to 20%. If you're in custody, for example, some people were moved over to custody because they're American and the regulators were putting out a cease and desist order, and so they moved them over to custody. Then some of those believe that there's still a court case where they'll get 100%. And so really, if you just do nothing, you'll probably get 40 to 50% at some point next year. But what we're trying to do right now is make sure that everybody also gets access to all of those illiquid assets and put through something that they can hold on to for the next few years. Wait for Bitcoin halving, wait for the market to turn around, believe that's going to happen, and then potentially fill the whole hole rather than just selling everything at the bottom of the market, liquidating.
Yeah. And so to my understanding, like, obviously I think the people that are actually taking part in trying to buy Celsius, like I think, as part of the auction deal, like, those people can't say exactly who they are, but people can make some pretty good educated guesses, I guess. I can tell you who one of them is for sure. SBF and FTX, they're definitely one. There's two major competing bids here. Now, one plan that SBF has is to be able to, my understanding was he was going to buy it and then take the assets, liquidate the assets and give cash back to the users. And then or not liquidate them, excuse me, give them cash. And then he was going to keep all the crypto assets for FTX. So if you had, let's say, 5 Bitcoin on there, you're not getting 5 Bitcoin, you're getting $100,000 back. And really, this to me is absolutely disgusting if that's what he's really planning on doing, because he's just buying it to take advantage of more users and to steal your crypto. Because guess what you then have to do? A lot of these people are going to go back to FTX, repurchase them, get new trading fees, get new transactions, and FTX gets more customers from doing it that way. That's one way to do it. First of all, is my understanding of what he's trying to do correct? And number two, what is the alternative bid plan?
Yeah, so we've seen what happened with Voyager situations. Firstly, politics played a really big role. One company, Wave Financial, came along and said, well, we'd like to repackage all the assets and put together the best offer for creditors. But because they couldn't pay a big chunk of cash, it wasn't accepted. So SBF came along with FTX and said, well, we'll pay. They made it out like it was a $1 billion bid. Well, 1.3 was just simply giving people back whatever crypto was left minus a haircut. And the rest of it was, open an account with FTX and then you get $50 if you start trading with us. So they make that back anyway. And the rest was just 50 million cash. So essentially, a business that was publicly traded at approximately, $6 billion has been acquired for approximately $50 million.
Jeez.
All of the the people that have lost money at a haircut, SBF put out like this whole persona of I'm a
Not getting a
charity
haircut.
guy. I want to make billions. I want to give it away. Well, who's better to give it away than the customers that are actually going to be with you? And I'm not saying anyone should do that, but if you're putting together that perception, it's not a good business move. But if you're putting together that whole charity perception, then it's a bit of a contradiction. There's probably something different going on there. But yeah, so what essentially is locking in the haircut. So if you had, depends on prices. It's a bit complicated formula. There's a 20-day moving average. But if it's supporting on FTX, then you lock in approximately an estimated 60 to 70% haircut. So if you had a Bitcoin, you're going to get 0.6 to 0.7 Bitcoin back. And if they don't support the coin, then they'll dollarize it as well. And then they wiped out the VGX and acquired the whole thing for 10 million. And then there's a bit more to be determined there. So it's really a predatory deal. And now after that, but remember also, FTX was on the line for like several hundred million in bad loans through this whole web of FTX to Voyager to Celsius and all this. So really, it was just repackaging and taking out some of their financial holes on their balance sheet and figuring out whether to re-leverage the money, that they were using the FTT token on Voyager in order to rehypothecate in this crazy scheme that essentially was what went wrong for Alex Baczynski as well, which is that he bet long, he invested all the clients' money, he lost money, and then he pretended that the sell token was everything while he was manipulating the price and dumping it and selling it OTC, and other people were taking out against it. It's just one big mess. So the only reason Voyager is in these things is to kind of fill some of their holes. Now they're getting all those assets. Now with the Celsius side, it's slightly different because Celsius actually bought a shit ton of stuff with our money. And now Celsius's plan is probably to take all of those staked ETHs and say, oh, well, what Celsius is doing, they're saying all of your assets are ours. So we'll give some of your assets back. What we want to do is take some of your staked ETH and we'll start filling our own hole and covering our overhead. Take those staked ETH and then just charge you 100% staking fee in 10 years. We would have filled our $3 billion hole, depending on what happens. So really, it's a really unworkable plan. Now it's going into bids. By the end of this year, all of Celsius's assets will be sold.
What's the
It's
date?
either going to
December
be sold
22nd?
to somebody like FTX doing a similar thing. We're going to have to actually come in, win the bid, because I'm the first largest creditor myself, and basically give all the assets, give all the coins to everybody, and package up a security so that everybody gets exposure to all of the things that were bought with our money. And everyone can just ride it out for the next bull market.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think that's what people would want. I think if we believe that, Celsius is, if it's bought by one of these, companies or entities trying to do the bids, then people are going to get some money back probably pretty quick But one of these plans has a longer term plan so you can recoup maybe 100% of your money, and then potentially even more, I guess. I mean, theoretically, correct? If the public company, if it becomes a public company, does well.
recovery,
Yeah.
people, when we FinX recovery, had, a dollar that was worth 30 cents, 70% was if you wanted to get. But eventually, if you stayed with us when we were on Bank to the Future, we packaged up security in the company, and that traded at a peak of $16.
Yeah.
So you went from 30 cents to $16, plus they paid out hundreds of millions of dividends. Now, I'm not saying that will happen again, but that's what we've done in the past. We did
got
in
a track record.
2016.
Yeah.
We also did the $850 million whole, part of that for Tether, which worked out doing about a 6x as well. So as long as you can get some of your coins back, rather than us trying to use your coins to make for our company, we just want to give everyone their coins in custody. They can withdraw them, they can stake them with us, do whatever they want, and give them a bunch of income. You can actually try to fill the hole as the market recovers. And if we've achieved exactly what we've done in the past, then it worked out a very, very good investment. Or we can just give everything to FTX. They buy it for pennies on the dollar. They give you back some of the money, and their shareholders benefit. Because you've got to remember what FTX is doing right now. It's going around raising $1 billion and telling everybody, give us $1 billion and we'll get all these assets for cheap. We'll re-leverage our FTT token many times over, and we'll do a similar thing to what Celsius does, but in our model, with us buying politicians on a slightly more regulated model, and us changing the laws in order to make sure everything comes to our platform.
Yeah. So let's talk about this. Let's talk about so, like I said, there's two competing plans. We all know we have to stop SBF at this point. I think everybody is on board in crypto. Like, very few people support SBF outside of Solana fanboys, FTX fanboys, and of course the Twitter, the bots, the troll bots that he puts out on different people's channels that I've seen. So outside of that, nobody supports him. We have to stop this man from taking over crypto. People understand this now. The word is out. A lot more. Talking to a journalist tonight for a major network doing a story on this. So there's a lot more stuff coming out for SBF. We've got to stop him in his tracks. Let's assume that he loses the bid and the other entity with the other plan to create the public company and maybe give back 100% over time if it works out. What's the timeline for that? Like, the bid date ends, or the auction is on December 22nd? Is that the date?
Yeah, so the bid is meant to be all complete by Christmas. Now, there's another little twist and turn here. And that is, if you listen to the last hearing, we're starting to see all this relationship between FTX and Celsius and all these intertwined relationships.
You realize that FTX was behind all.
And now, and essentially the judge is coming out and saying, examiner, can you tell me, is this a Ponzi scheme? Now, if this is a Ponzi scheme, it's a disaster for all of us, because you enter into a Madoff situation. It means that you're in a Mt. Gox. You've got 14 years of Madoff, 8 years of Mt. Gox. Everything gets liquidated. It's treated completely differently. So everyone's in a bit of a tricky situation right now. So to get the bid done this year, we can't delay it to try and look at all these intertwined relationships.
Right,
we've got to allow that to happen later. Justice will later. But right now, we've got to get through the bid. And that means that by the end of this year, if we get through that, the examiner report can come out at some point next year. And then maybe it takes about 3 to 6 months, so to actually execute getting your coins back. And then you've got another couple of years for your equity to mature, or you can just simply sell it on a market about a year later. So it's a long-term relationship together if we want this to happen. But the alternative, this is you're just going to get your haircut locked in at this point. You're going to be owned by FTX or some other bidder that comes along, and their shareholders are just going to take all the assets and benefit from it, because that's why they want to buy them.
Well, the irony of this, the irony of the fact that haircuts are involved and SBF is involved is kind of funny. But the other irony here is that if you look at FTX, what they've actually done, there's a lot of evidence suggesting they were actually behind Terra Luna crash, Three Arrows Capital, Voyager, tons of tokens across the space. They take their competitors out. So the irony here is you have SBF saying he stands for crypto and he's the white knight, and yet he's following the exact same model that the hedge funds used in the 2008 financial crisis, which is let's tank the market and then let's come in and buy it. Caused a lot, I think, behind Tornado Cash, that arrest as well. I think that was a setup. I think when you look at the trail of events that have led us to where we're at today, you'll see SBF has orchestrated every single bit of this because he thought he was going to be able to come out as the hero with Voyager, but he's been exposed now. People are starting to understand what he's done. He's trying to create stock market TradFi 2.0, and we've got to stop him from doing this. So middle to end of next year could potentially see the returns if the one plan works out. Now, explain to me what needs to happen from here to support one of these bids over the other one, because obviously nobody in this chat is going to support SBF's bid. It's not a winning plan for anybody. How can people get more involved, or like if people want to, I don't know, can people invest in this? Like what is the situation here?
Yeah, so what we're doing right now is I'm going to be releasing a video for the judge to understand some things that the judge needs to resolve in court. And at the same time, at Bank to the Future, we're going to be doing what we've done in the past with companies like Bitfinex, but unique to this. So we've created a new product, which is a bid finance product, where people can back the company that they want to win the bid, and they can benefit from all the growth in that as well. So at Bank to the Future, we're going to be doing a new fund for our parent company, BF Global. And that allows us to really be determined by the creditors. So we can raise finance either by an equity in our company, or they can just lend us the coins. And we've created a way and a mechanism for people to actually change their relationship, lend us the coins so that we can then do a leverage buyout, essentially, and go enter into that process. And if the community and creditors want us to do that, we've put together our a plan of how we just simply, by winning the bid, just our assets to prevent the other bidders benefiting from all the assets.
Yeah, and I think, is there like a website, or what is the best place for people to go to either get more information about it or to actually participate? We'll put it in the chat.
Yeah, so if someone's a creditor in Celsius, then, or even if they want to participate, they should make sure they have an account on banktothefuture.com.
Okay.
And you can verify and certify your account in advance. We're getting thousands and thousands of account signups right now, so there's a bit of a waiting queue. But yeah, we're getting people can create their accounts there in advance. If you want to learn more, then see more videos on my YouTube channel, DIXON.
Yeah, you make a lot of videos, Simon. You make more videos than I do, I think. Every time I'm on Twitter, I see 48 different Simon videos. Look, here's what I want. Here's what I want to say. Like, Simon, I like you. You're a good guy. I trust you. I think you're doing the right thing. I thought Alex Mashinsky was doing the right thing. But here's the important part. Here's the important thing. What people need to understand is whether or not you happen to like Simon, or you think this plan that he has talked about is good or not, even if Simon himself turns out to be the devil, it cannot be worse than handing this over to SBF. There's no loss here. There's no L here at all. SBF single-handedly is trying to destroy the entire crypto space. He's trying to destroy decentralization. He's trying to destroy peer-to-peer. He's trying to make it only centralized. He's trying to make it so that he wins, so he can push his political and philosophical agenda that he has and shape the world in the way that he wants it to be, okay? So what I'm saying here is, as a person who has an account at Celsius, I'm going to take part in this. I'm going to take part in this. I'm going to go sign up on Bank to the Future, get an account. I understand it might take a little bit of time, but I think this is a movement we've got to push. I think this us versus SBF, we've got to continue this movement, and we've got to be able to make this charge known that not only is this beneficial for you getting money back if you have an account on Celsius, but you're actually playing a role in trying to cut the head off of the snake that's writhing around the entire space like a boa constrictor. And so we're going to be able to chop that head off, and this is part of that. So I'm going to be talking about this a lot more because I think this is a really big deal, and I think it's a pivotal time for crypto. It's a pivotal time for Celsius. It's a pivotal time, or for Celsius users, pivotal time for regulation. A lot of things going on right now, and I do think that we're going to support this, and we're going to create an account, like I said, and take part. So you guys can take that as you will. Obviously, trusting somebody else with your money, or having an account on a third party, whatever it is, if that makes you uncomfortable, I understand. But we are going to be taking part of this, and we're going to be pushing this because we do not want to see SBF win. So sorry, I didn't actually call you the devil, Simon.
No, it's all right. We've all been burnt. We've all got a lot of trust. I've been burnt as well. So what I would say is that I've been here since day one. I spoke at the first Bitcoin conference.
Yeah, absolutely.
I wrote the first published book in the world to include Bitcoin. I've invested in over 100 companies, from Kraken to Bitfit, Stamp to Coinbase, to Circle to Ripple Labs, and everything. I've got a track of the supporting industry, and you'll see those types of companies I've supported. But also, you don't need to trust, because the reality is the plan will be voted on at the end, and creditors get to decide. 50% of the people that vote need to vote for the plan, and 2/3 of the value, so the whales essentially control as well. But you've got to have both the people and the whales in order to get the plan through. So the only plan that can work is the one that's just best for creditors.
Yeah,
if I put together a predatory bid and I say I'm going to do one thing, then do something else, you just simply won't vote for it.
Right.
If I end up doing where I give you all your assets, then you'll vote for it. So you don't need to trust.
There you go. There you go. It was something I had to say because, I just find myself all the time like, I trusted Alex Mashinsky way more than I should have, and I know a lot of people feel raw. A lot of people feel raw by the way that he's done everybody, the way that SBF is trying to do the space. And so I think people should have a healthy amount of skepticism for anybody in the space, for me, for you, for CZ, for literally anybody. I think there is a healthy amount of skepticism. But when you look at the track record, look at what you guys did with Bitfinex. And I know that Bank of the Future has been around, for a long time and a reputable company. But in this case, you don't actually have to trust. Here's what you have to trust. You have to trust that SBF's plan is not going to be the best. It is not going to be the best. He has the track record. We've seen what his plan will probably look like. We've seen what he's done in crypto. And so anything we can do to fight against that, we're going to do. So, Simon, we'll probably have you on the channel for some more updates because obviously we're getting much closer to this time. We're only about 6 to 7 weeks away from this. So I'm gone. And where are you at? Are you in the UK?
Oh, I'm in the Isle of Man. So I live on a little island. There's only 85,000 people here, so you probably never
going to see you. Well, I'm going to be in London next week, not too far from you. So be in London next week. Maybe we can get an update.
Okay. Yeah, it's a quick plane. 1 hour plane.
Yeah, come on over, Simon. Come hang out at Token 2049. So, and then we'll be probably in 2 weeks. We'll have you back on for another update because we really want to know how this is going. So, you guys, the Bank of the Future link is in the chat. Obviously, all of us who had money on Celsius, we should find a way to participate in any way that you can. Obviously, it might just be with your social media posts and talking about this, but this is another fight we got on our hands, and we got to make it happen.
Further as well, which is that those that withdrew in the last 90 days,
okay,
if this goes into Ponzi scheme or what they call Chapter 7, then the company can actually claw back all of the funds that were withdrawn in the 90 days. So if you withdrew, there was billions and billions of dollars withdrawn.
100%.
If you were in that scenario, then you also want a bid to get through that doesn't allow for that. And either that can be opted out and that can be put in the contract of the bid that they won't do that. If Celsius remains in, or if a bid that happens, everybody that withdrew their money can actually be on the line to put their money back by court order, ruin their credit rating even if they don't pay it.
Yeah. So there's even more on the line. And you're saying if people withdrew, they should still be very interested in this. I know Wendy, Wendy talked to me about the clawback. She was the first person that told me about it, and I asked you about it, that it's a very real possibility. And so everyone who's had an account on Celsius, even if you withdrew and you didn't lose the money, We've all got a stake in this. And guys, this isn't just about Celsius. This isn't about everybody that lost money. This is about a continuing, ongoing civil war in crypto between those like me and CZ who are for decentralization. And then you have people on the other side, your SBFs, your Brian Armstrongs, that are for centralization. And this is just another piece of that civil war. So even if you didn't have an account on Celsius, you should take particular interest to this. We've got to stop FTX from winning this bid. And we will all, as the BitSquad, take credit for it when this happens. So, Simon, thank you so much for coming on. Everybody can check out the link in the chat. We'll put in the description as well for the people that watch tonight. Any last words before you go?
Yeah, just really supporting the work of making sure that, centralized companies have to exist. You get companies like Celsius, and you need regulations for that stuff. But you can't use that to attack the decentralized side, because the reality is we're in a battle between, decentralization and centralization. Regulations are needed for that centralization. But you really need who regulates the regulator? Well, it's Bitcoin that regulates the regulator. It's giving people a choice away from central bank digital currencies. It's DeFi that regulates the regulator. And so by taking away that choice, that is fundamentally for both centralized and decentralized. And so we have to fight for the industry. That's why we're here. Bitcoin produced that. And it's far too important, especially in the world that we're living in today.
Yeah, absolutely. Very, very well said. Well, Simon, thank you so much for coming on. Maybe you come out to London next week. I'll see you. And if not, I'll catch you. We'll do an update in 2 weeks when I'm back from my trip to London. And hopefully we can get this thing rolling. So, all right, Simon, we'll catch you later.
Thank you.
All right, bye. All right, guys. Well, I got to go. I got another show I'm
Yeah.
jumping on. If you want to go watch me, it's actually a Hex channel.
Uh-oh.
We didn't cover the Hex story today, did we?
No.
Why?
I don't know.
That's very interesting.
It didn't show up in the news, like in
Really?
the main feeds and stuff.
Well, Hex, apparently, Richard Hart is getting sued by the SEC. He's not in America. It's going to be very hard for them to get to him. But apparently, they're sending subpoenas to, I guess, people that promoted Hex. We've stayed neutral on Hex. We never promoted Hex. Always want a neutral standpoint on it. Just because there is a lawsuit now does not mean that it's bad. Does not mean that, people are going to get in trouble. Obviously, you got to let these same thing happen with Ripple. We see what's happening there. Definitely some interesting stuff going on with Hex. I would like to talk about it a little more. Maybe we'll go talk about it on it's Corey Costa's Crypto Coins is the name of the channel, I believe. I just retweeted on Twitter. If you want to go check out the link, I'm going to be over there in just a minute. Let's all get those Bank to the Future accounts, guys. Let's push forward with this together. We are strong and we are going to win. That's all I got. Be blessed. BitBoy out.